We just got the finale for X-Men 97 Season 1, and we're going to sit right here and talk about it on Canned Air. Hello, everyone. I am Jeremy Colley.
I'm Jack Doherty.
I'm Casey Plott.
We're going to be sitting here talking about Season 1 of X-Men 97. We just got the finale episode yesterday, and holy shit, guys. Holy shit, everyone. I mean, this has been such a delight, this series so far. I haven't been this excited about Marvel anything in this long. What about you guys?
Right? Same exact feeling.
Yeah.
The last 3 weeks have been like, oh, when's it coming out? I gotta watch.
I know,
more.
You count the days, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's been absolutely one of the best to see come out of anything Marvel in a while. And I am a Marvel file. I'm an easy sell. I'm a simp for whatever they're putting out. And this one was just phenomenal and took me back to a place that I couldn't have been happier about. And same, I haven't been week to week for a show like this in a minute.
Yeah, same here. And you know, it's funny, you say take you back, because it definitely does take you back to the characters we all grew up with. But it's funny how it's, that show where it left off then grew up with us. You know what I mean? It got a lot darker, a lot heavier tones than back in the day. Not that it didn't get heavy, not that there weren't serious moments, but holy shit, I think this hit on a new level. Would you guys agree or disagree? Don't go rushing to speak all at once now.
I was waiting. Just as soon as I said something, Casey would say something. I had a feeling.
Yeah, I'm gun shy now. I'm trying to hold off. I'm trying to wait. Like, no, let's get this timing right.
Go ahead, Casey.
But yeah. All right, I'll jump in on this one. Yes, the darkness factor is amazing because it has kind of grown up with us. The way I watch the show, it's the way I remember the original series. So when I'm watching the animated series and seeing the way it's updated now, it's subtle, but it's super effective because it is exactly the way I remember it. It's done really intelligently and like on that level that I think I remember loving about the original X-Men was it spoke to me as if I was a somewhat adult. Like I knew what I was talking about. So they really show those personal relationships. They powered through an amazing storyline, and it was pretty brutal with some serious consequences.
Yeah. Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Then you would never have seen a baby submerged in water in a tube.
Really quick, before we go any further, one thing I wanted to say at the top of this, and I guess I can put it in the title too, is there's spoilers. So, Jack's talking about a few details from the episodes. If you haven't seen this season 1 yet, you might want to hold off until you see it because we're going to obliterate it. I'm sorry, Jack, continue.
Well, that's what I was just saying. That I've never seen a baby in a test tube getting submerged and injected with viruses and stuff back in 97. Versus now,
definitely, definitely got brutal.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm glad you put that back in 97 in there because without it, it's just you saying, "I've never seen a baby in a test tube." It started to sound a little odd. I'm like, who has?
Well, I mean, never on television. That's just normally a hobby thing.
Right. But no, you're right about. It's talking about how dark it got and then talking about that moment where Nathan is put into that tube, seeing what's happened to him, seeing Sinister's plan with him. That was like the first really dark thing, I thought, in my opinion. It was like, holy shit, what are they doing to this infant? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. It's like I got the heavy lifting this week.
Oh, it was brutal. I think one of the other things they did was, if we're going to go full on spoilers, if everyone's good and in for it, the deaths were huge. First of all, Storm losing her power, watching her go through that trial and tribulation was real subtle and real beautiful. And
that
then
hit really hard when
overcoming.
she was, how upset she was because she couldn't feel the nature. That was that hit kind of hard. I felt really bad for her.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you're dealing with the clones where, screwing with Cyclops' mind because he's got this clone of the woman that he loves that he's been involved with. And all of a sudden that's not real. And then she's gone from his life. That's brutal.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Hey, not to mention the just normal everyday people that get willed into being these death machines that there was just human sacrifices all over the place in this.
Yeah. For sure. And, so many we didn't even see. When Magneto EMP'd the world, you keep hearing about all the deaths, people who are on life support and, many other examples where if they don't have electricity, they're going to die. So
How many people were in a plane?
great point,
Yeah.
man. Holy
Shit.
shit. Great point.
I mean, that's brutal. How many people didn't have brakes on trains?
Ooh. Yeah. Cars.
How many people
Well,
on
you say
boats
cars, yeah.
capsized? Yeah, cars.
Think about
dead.
those guys in submarines.
They're just stuck under waters.
Yeah, so many things we can't even think of. People wearing pacemakers, anything like that. So yeah, the death toll was crazy, especially at Magneto's hand. And it's funny because so far through season 1, you're just like, yes, the Magnus we've all wanted to see. I've always wanted to see him take to Charles' side. And you occasionally get glimpses of it throughout the comics and stuff, but this was the most I've ever seen. And I loved it because I kept waiting for him to betray the X-Men somewhere, where I guess he didn't betray them, but he just was like, I'm not following this dream anymore. This is out of hand. But seeing him follow that for a while was pretty darn cool.
And he did. He really gave it a shot. And I think
Yeah.
that was I agree that he was trying to ingratiate himself into that family mindset, trying to, be part of the team and follow the dream the way Charles had laid it out. But when he breaks down, I mean, after everything he saw, after witnessing Gambit's death, which, yeah, boom, big drop there. That was brutal. That one was tough. Watching Rogue go through that, seeing her kind of fall back to her baser mentality and ideals. And it was worth it because I think they were right. And that line, Magneto was right at the end of the first part of the 3-part finale, which let's just talk about the fact that they put together a 3-part finale that was phenomenal. It was riveting. I was so excited for that ending. It was just brilliant. So seeing it all, I don't think I'll ever disagree with Magneto again. Like I was always trying to think that I would uphold the ideas of Charles Xavier, and I'm like, nah, not anymore.
Yeah.
Man,
No,
Magneto.
you totally see his side of it and actually sympathize and would probably do the same thing. Yeah.
I need a rewatch. It always takes me a good couple watches for something to truly sink in because there's always details I miss. For instance, like with Storm getting her powers back, I still don't fully understand what the creature or demon or what it was she was talking to was. But, I also, I guess, kind of missed why it was Magneto EMP'd the whole world. Other than, was it simply just because he knew it would destroy it? Is that why he then put the asteroid in the atmosphere? I mean, if he destroys the world, there's not going to be no atmosphere for Asteroid M to be in, right? I mean, am I missing something?
Did he know about the Sentinels that were all taken all over the place before he got let go? So he
he
knew what
was
doing then.
Oh,
yeah,
that's what
because
he
he
was
had
doing.
those
That's
TV
right.
screens up in front of him. So Bastion was like forcing him to watch
Yeah.
and see the demise of everything. So yeah, he was like, enough. We're done with this.
And how dangerous?
How much were you guys hoping that what's her name that released Magneto was going to be Mystique, or may still be Mystique?
That would be pretty cool. That'd be really.
I'd be
waiting
pretty
for it.
excited.
Kept waiting
Be
for it.
pretty
but
excited.
I think
Yeah,
we'll
I was-
eventually get Mystique, don't you?
I think it is her still. She just hasn't shown up yet.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Totally plausible.
Yeah.
Speaking of all the people turning to Sentinels, Sebastian Bastion, I can't remember.
Bastion.
Just Bastion. He had said, or somebody said at some point, that when these people had this procedure done to them, they come out of it not knowing anything ever happened. It may as well have not have happened to them. It's just one day, all of a sudden, bam, they click, they turn on, and they start serving the purpose of Bastion. So I kept thinking that, they had Magneto in custody for a long time. I thought for sure at the end of season 1, this is how bad Magneto was going to come about or something, that all of a sudden Magneto would just switch into one of those and he would be like the impossible to destroy. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I had been looking at stuff online, like people's predictions of what they thought, how this would end. And I saw a couple different, one of which was right, with foreshadowing of Apocalypse, but another one was Onslaught. And
That's the one I've been going with.
Well, fuck, man. This last episode, I just felt like they had a carrot on a string leading you to think
Yeah.
it was going to be him the whole time. Because
That's what I was doing the whole time, was like, here it comes. Here it comes.
Yeah,
They're going to do it.
Bastion is taking on these new forms, this new technology, and he's starting to evolve to kind of almost look like that. Then at the same time, you have Magneto and Charles in this like escape of the mind, like,
Yeah.
you know, it's ready. It's there.
I know.
Not
It
that
really
I'm-
is.
I'm not disappointed. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Apocalypse is just as good in my opinion. But
They had too much of Apocalypse in the first series, though.
They did have a lot of them. I mean, that's how we deal with
That's
like
true.
Archangel. That's how we get with, a whole lot of other stories in that first run with Apocalypse. He was what? He was a good like 10 episodes in the first series. He was in a
First-
lot.
Yeah, first season.
Yeah.
one thing
So I guess more Eben El-Sur we get the return of. So that's exciting. But we get him at the beginning. So that should be fun.
That's what's so interesting. I see Charles being somewhat arrogant and like, we can train the boy to be one of us, or we can save him before he goes bad. But that's not going to go well. That's just not going to go well. Did you see
it's
the
Apocalypse, man. It's never good.
Did you see the after credit scene?
No.
What?
There's an after credit scene on this last episode. It's right out, like when the music starts and it shows like their characters' profiles spinning and shit.
Mhm.
When that ends, before it goes to like the over picture of the mansion, it's just a really quick thing where it shows the ruins of Genosha and Apocalypse standing in it. Like the Apocalypse we all know, not like, the one that they went back in time to. But he just grabs a handful of soil and picks it up and opens his hand, and all the soil falls away to reveal like a Ace of Spades card in his palm, one of Gambit's cards. I think he says a quick line, but I can't remember what he said. Again, I need to watch it again.
Oh man, if we're gonna have Apocalypse bring Remy back as one of the Four Horsemen, that would be pretty amazing.
That's so what they're gonna do, man. I didn't even
I've heard
think of
that
that.
rumor too, actually.
That's so
One of the
what
guys
they're
at
gonna
work.
do. I didn't even think about that.
That would be pretty dope because he has that power. Apocalypse is
Yeah.
basically the only one who could do that.
Mhm.
And that's
So
how we'll
that
get
would
him
be
back
amazing.
because they're not going to keep him dead. Fuck, it's a comic
Mhm.
TV show. They're not going
And we got to
keep him
get
dead.
Psylocke in here now. We need Psylocke in. So what better way to bring her in than through Apocalypse? I think that'd be great.
And they showed her,
And we
in
saw
this
her.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw her. So
So I didn't even think about that. You just kind of blew my mind, man. You were saying about Apocalypse, we got a lot of him in the original series. So, that's why it would have been cooler to see Onslaught, because that's something we hadn't seen.
Mhm.
That's kind of how I felt when we yet again get Jean Grey's Phoenix. How many times did we see this in the original series? I mean, fuck.
yeah, but
A lot.
still, to see her rise up out of that in that scene was
That-
pretty damn sweet.
Of course. It always is going to be sweet. For always, always, always. But it's no pun intended, just talking about Gambit, but it's an ace up the sleeve kind of a thing. It's like, okay, they're in
yeah.
a tough situation that they can't possibly defeat. Bring in Soups. You know what I mean?
What are
and
we gonna
that's-
do? I got it. Bring in the Phoenix. Great
Bring
idea.
in Captain Marvel, just like they did in fucking Endgame.
Who's the most powerful creature we have? Do it. Like, I mean,
exactly.
but when you also have
Again?
someone like, yeah, exactly. And I can get the tiresome nature of it because I did kind of feel that as well. I
Okay.
saw her come up and I'm like, yes, again. But I mean, of course it's going to go that route. But I'm a
Of
huge
course.
Phoenix guy. I love the Dark Phoenix story. And the idea that maybe there was one more burn in her. There's always going to be one more burn in her. There's always
Yeah.
one more opportunity for her to tap into that. It's a cosmic being of unimaginable power. So yeah, it's always around in some way, I'm sure.
What was that? What was insinuated here? This was like kind of a last burn, like the last time kind of a
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah, she said it was gone, but I felt that inside me, deep, deep down.
Oh,
Keep reaching because you'll probably still find a little bit.
I'm sure.
If you can imagine it, it's there.
That's a
So-
bottomless well.
more.
Not to say I was put off by the appearance of Phoenix. Of course not. I mean, it was
No.
so cool. You just saying that made me think that. What else? What did it end? How were you guys thinking it might end other than the onslaught thing? Casey, did you have any predictions?
Yeah, I was actually leaning towards we were going to get more of the Shi'ar stuff coming back to Earth. Which once again would tie more back into more Phoenix stuff because that's always how it all ties back. But I could absolutely see that having come back around, and I'm gonna go with a deep cut. I was honestly kind of hoping we were gonna get a bit of the Executioner maybe in here at some point
well, it would
to
stand
kind
to
of
reason.
pick up
I
in
mean,
the ashes.
he was like in the first or second episode, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, he gets an action figure and Bastion doesn't. That pisses me off. Those X-Men 97 Marvel Legends figures are pretty cool, but I'm not going to buy the Executioner.
we might get Bastion still. I mean, he had a bunch of so many forms, so
He looked so
and they're probably wanting to
cool.
keep it secret a little bit.
Yeah, he looked amazing.
Yeah. He did look really cool. I was also kind of blown away that we didn't get, if they were going with that Dark Mind stuff with Storm, I was expecting perhaps a Shadow King return, who
Yeah,
possibly operating in Sinister or something along those lines. Luckily, they didn't go that deep, and we kind of got an end to Sinister, which I'm happy about.
How about that too? Just
Yeah.
pulling the DNA out of his ass.
yeah, just making him.
That
I
was
mean, he should have just
crazy.
turned to dust at that moment, right? Because I mean, without his magic and powers and shit, I mean, wouldn't he be well over 100 at that point, like 130 years old?
Yeah, he's only really got his suit at that point, kind of keeping him alive. So that's it.
It was.
But
That
he should have
was really
dusted.
cool.
I would have liked dust.
Especially when, yeah, dust would have been tight, but it could have been like, oh, that looks too much like being snapped away or something, you know?
Good
But-
point.
Well, they had to keep him there so that Morph could get his little
Yes.
just desserts line back at him about saying he look, hey, you look the same to me.
That was so awesome because isn't the way Morph came in the original series was he was under the control of Sinister because Morph was
Mhm.
bad because he was
Mhm.
controlled by Sinister, then they freed him. So yeah, that was cool to see him, you know, show him his face with his own face. Speaking of Morph's face though, you know, did we ever get this like white chameleon look to him back in the day? Because I don't think we did. Am I wrong?
No, I had seen a video about that, and I really probably shouldn't go into it too much because I can't remember exactly. But there was another
It's what we do
character
best here, man.
that
Go for it.
looked like the white no face character, and somehow they ended up taking him and making him into Morph because he was around. I can't remember what his name was. It's such a loose translation of what the
Well, it
story
could have
actually
been
is,
like
but
Spider-Man's chameleon because the chameleon could do the exact same thing and had a very similar looking face. But
yeah, there was a whole character that looked like that was called something else, but then he could do the same thing, and I guess people started calling him Morph, so they ended up just incorporating that version of him into the 97 version. It's something
you go on
like
to mattdamon.com again.
No, it's legit. It's true.
I think it's actually a better look too, because the original
Yes.
Morph from '92, by the time he's all jacked up and, you know, has Sinister has broken him and he has those different battles with himself, he looks like an alcoholic father who's just on the streets.
He's almost got
So
like
he's not-
jaundiced skin and those big black eyes and shit.
Yeah, man. So we needed that like clear face Morph. I'm
It's
cool
funny
with that
too,
one.
because after they didn't mean to hit the mic there. It's funny too because after they freed him from Sinister's, you know, magic, you know, his face took, you know, I think the dark circles went away. He got a normal skin tone, but there was still like a part of him that looked really demented. Anytime he was on screen when I was a kid, I'm like, ugh, he's so fucking ugly.
Yeah, he had that super sunken face. It just didn't look good. Like it just
Yeah.
wasn't, you know, and it's 92 animation. So yeah, let's get away
Yeah.
from that.
That's another thing is how polished and clean this season looks. But we never did see him take that face at all, did we? Or did we? Maybe when he first
I don't
came in?
recall.
No.
No, I'm
Okay.
pretty sure he's just remained this face.
Yeah.
He's used the 97 one a couple times. My stuff is all frozen a couple of times, so I might have been out of the loop for a second with the conversation.
Oh, sorry, buddy.
We will carry on. I'm sure we'll be good. I didn't even notice.
Well,
It's not my fault. You got to keep talking. We should just go through the list of characters here. Have we talked about Charles at all? I don't know. What were your opinions on him choosing to stay with the Shiara? How do you say it? Shiar?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Before,
I
finally-
mean, I would have done it. You can walk and you're going to be the Empress's husband. Yeah. That's an easy sell for me. Like, as much as there's a point of you have to let your kids go from you, then your kids have to let you go live whatever end of your life you have. So if I'm going to live out my golden years in an international like empire or intergalactic empire where I'm beloved, or at least with a beloved, yeah, no, I'm in it. I'm in all day. I'm doing that.
I see the appeal. I mean, she might. Yeah, I might have to talk to her about that haircut. That hair was.
I was just going to say, I might
else.
have to wait for the live action version of that hairdo so I can really judge it then, because I just can't understand it with the way that the animation is.
Big hill to get over, no matter what she looks like, man. That's a big
And
hill.
I don't know how much I can take going through life being a spitting image of Lex Luthor in his power suit.
Yeah, he did look pretty similar to it. But Casey, I didn't know
Pretty
exactly.
strong.
I know what
But
you're
at the same token, you don't have to worry about not walking. And who are your other options on Earth? Moira McTaggart? She's already turned him down how many times? Like, come on.
Yeah, true.
That gets old.
Well, she's laid up in bed right now in a coma, right? Isn't that who Beast was consoling over?
But
Mhm.
you would think that Charles could find at least. I mean, he's filthy rich. He's got this team of mutants. You think he'd be able to find someone else? Like the best I can do is this faraway Empress. I don't know, man.
You'd think, but he hasn't. Like, at this point, you think he would have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
true.
that's kind of a tough one. And it's got to be hard when you can read everyone's mind. That's
Oh,
got to be
I
difficult
think that's
to try
the
to have a
biggest issue.
relationship.
Yeah. Can you keep your mind on me for a second? No, my X-Men. I need my X-Men.
yeah.
Got
but
the cord,
I-
buddy.
Not people reading his mind. I mean, like him reading their mind and like knowing every little intricate thought that's supposed to be private. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I mean. That's what she was like. The females are probably just like, pay attention to me. And he's like,
Oh.
no, I can't. My X-Men.
My X-Men.
To me.
Come to me, my X-Men.
But that's just it, though. Rogue made a very good point when she was leaving X-Men to go be with Magneto, saying, we're not your kids. You trained us to be soldiers. And Magneto emphasized, you guys are fighting his war. And here, that's what the X-Men's purpose is. I mean, yeah, they're a family, but they are at the same time fighting for this common goal, his goal. And he's just like, fuck it, I can walk. I totally.
Yeah, but it took like 40 years to reach that point. So let's be a little fair to the prof. It took him a while to get there. He wheeled around for a good 30, 40 years before
Yeah.
he decided he was bailing.
But if I feel like if he felt they were truly his kids, that he wouldn't just leave them fighting this war. I don't know.
I don't know. After he came back, he seemed to be that way when he was talking to Scott, because he's just like, Scott's like, every time I try to leave, I end up coming here. And he's like, me too.
Yeah.
You're all like my kids.
That was a good scene. And I
Yeah.
really enjoyed at the end when Scott, they have control of the Sentinel that's trying to step on Bastion and obviously about to fail. And everybody's getting ready to use their powers. Scott goes for his visor, but then he stops and he's like, the future's set. It is what it is. And he then takes the Charles approach, trying to appeal to the humanity and say, come with us. We can help you. That was kind of beautiful right there. I love that.
Oh, I was definitely set for him to unleash all hell on it. But when he did, it was just like, oh, there's old Cyclops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when he rips those things open and you get to see the full, unabashed, raw power of his just full-on optic blast, powered by the sun, just unleashing fury. God, I love Cyclops. It was awesome. And that scene, there was that bomb scene where they're busting through and he's got Cable behind him shooting and he's driving the Porsche.
Oh
And
my
then he's
God.
like, let's
yes.
show him why you don't mess with the Summer family. And they just start ripping through. Oh, it was so awesome.
That was sweet. I don't
That
think
brought
the
me back to
Porsche
my
could take all
childhood.
that, but it was still sweet. What's that?
100%.
That brought me back to my childhood, because my first figure was Cyclops. And I remember the description on the back saying that he could adjust his beam to fit through a keyhole or punched through the side of a mountain. So I actually got to see 48 years later, Cyclops actually carving a hole through a mountain with his.
That's cool that you
optic
remember
blast.
that. It's cool you remember that description on the action figure box. That's tight.
I don't know why. Just because I guess
Because it made you go, wow.
Yeah.
Because it was so cool. It
So,
was that cool.
Wow, wee.
Forget Havoc, man. Alex was the Lesser Summers brother. I'll die on
Right.
that hill.
Out.
Yeah, it was.
What other characters do we need to go over here? How about-
Nightcrawler.
yes, you read my mind.
Yes.
What is that? Episode 6? When I've watching him and Wolverine fight, it was amazing. I wish they would have done a little more like they did in the X-Men movies with him bamfing around fighting. It seemed like they could have done a little bit faster, but after the finale new episode, they were saving that little bit for the finale because
Yeah.
he'd be doing it then.
Yeah,
But,
they didn't want to
yeah.
blow their load in episode 6.
When
Definitely
Nightcrawler,
cranked it all the way up. Definitely cranked it up at the end. He speed bamfed hard.
yes, when he was fighting those Sentinels, just teleporting them out of the way, and then you see the sword go through the one, and then Wolverine's claws, and then I had to rewind it because I was like, "What the hell's going on?" All of a sudden, everything stretched real fast, and came back, and I was like, "No, they didn't."
Yeah.
I was like, so many things we always wanted in this series and never got, but someone was listening.
Yeah, seeing what
We
it's
got a
like. Yeah, they've never
POV
done
bam.
that, have they?
Never. Yeah, I've never seen. Did they do it like in First Class with that one at all, or anything close?
He wasn't in first
Not in that
class.
run. They might have done something similar. Well, he wasn't in First Class. He wasn't in. He wasn't
Azazel
in
was,
until.
though. Azazel was essentially the same thing, though, right?
Not First Class, but
With Azazel?
the new group of X-Men.
I don't recall. No,
He
I
was
don't
in,
think comfortably I can say yes because I know he was in X United.
Yes.
The good one of that one, which was cool, but I don't remember a POV bamf. Certainly nothing like that. That was exactly what I wanted, and I know you guys wanted. We talked about it. How just rad
Yeah.
that was to just feel that stretching and just being like, "What was that?"
Yeah, and also
think-
watching Wolverine's face and seeing that there was a bit of an excruciation, like there. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but you just see his eyes widen and like he's taken by it.
Yeah, it's not like it's like could have been like, what is going on? Because it's definitely not the first time he's ever been through it, but maybe there is a little discomfort involved in it with everybody. I mean, you don't do it all the time. It can't be all peaches and
Meanwhile, Kurt's just farting around like, "This is great." Do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I can do it all the time. Poof, 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 poof.
what a power!
And
Be
seeing
something
him
else.
with 3 swords. I about shit my
Oh.
pants too.
I rewound it
Like-
like 3 times.
Right. Same here.
No, my
That's
So
friend.
great.
After watching the One Piece and learning about Zoro or what Aurora Zoro, one of the characters, and he fights with 3 samurai swords. So I kind of was sitting there watching and then saw one sword and then the tail sword, and I was like, oh shit, he's using his tail. And then they showed him with his third one. And I was like, holy shit, Nightcrawler with 3 sword style.
Full on rapier
It was sweet.
effect. It's
Yeah.
Oh, it
happening.
was
It
amazing.
was freaking awesome.
The lead up to that too, when Wolverine goes in there first and the first Sentinel like grabs him and blasts off into the sky with him, just like his falling and slashing off limbs as he falls back to the ground was awesome. But then showing back up in the doorway,
Yes.
like, oh my God, that hit pretty hard. That was pretty awesome. Ah,
That was pretty powerful. Yeah.
I can't.
How did you guys? I am curious. How did y'all feel about Rogue over this run?
Loved her. Loved every bit of it.
I agreed with everything she was doing pretty much. So I
Yeah.
had no choice but to be all for her the whole time.
The only thing that I guess kind of was putting me off kilter a hair was her eagerness to join up with Magneto as his empress or whatever of Genosha. Though, I mean, there is the love thing, but also at that point, I think he had start to win over the X-Men like he was, not going to take Charles's X-Men and do anything that Charles wouldn't approve of kind of a thing, So maybe that's where that comes from. I don't know. But other than that, loved her. I loved her anger. I loved her everything. It was awesome.
When she
Yeah,
needed
her-
Cap's shield, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was
a
it, man.
huge-
When she yoked that sucker right across, it was like, what?
And he was just like, all right.
Did you
Yeah,
have?
what's Cap gonna do? He's got no
Yeah.
chance there. He's
No.
like, all right, well, this sucks.
Yeah. Did you not approve of Rogue in this, Casey, or did you have?
Oh
any-
no, I was 100% on board. I was absolutely. I was. It was heartbreaking for me because I was agreeing with Magneto and Rogue more than I think I ever would have thought I had. Like
Yeah.
12-year-old me is like, what are you doing? You've completely turned your back on the X-Men, you fool. I'm like, no,
I
I'm
was
older
right
and
there with
bitter
you.
and jaded now. I get it.
Yeah, right there with you, man. Like it'd be tempting not to at that point. Like when he's got Asteroid N hovering in the sky, saying, choose my X-Men, which side you want to, be on. It'd have been hard for me right there. Like, man, Charles, this road just keeps taking us back to the same fucking disappointing failure,
The
Maybe
mansion
he's-
is crushed again. God.
How many times can we rebuild it?
We need more kids to rebuild it. Damn it, Charles.
We're sick of staying at the shelter. That's
Uh,
another thing.
um,
Their other base that they had in was that in Manhattan?
I don't know where
I'm
I didn't
not
catch where that
100%
was
sure.
at. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't
It
remember.
makes sense since seeing all the New York heroes in the finale and stuff and
Mhm.
leading up to the finale.
I was audibly loud here at home all by myself when Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson were on the screen looking in the window. I about shit myself.
It was
They-
the same here because I was looking and I was like, that redhead looks familiar. That's Mary Jane and Peter. Just like that.
I have a new ringtone.
I was pretty stoked when I saw Cloak and Dagger land with a
Oh,
limping
yeah.
Matt Murdock behind him. I was like, yes, Hell's Kitchen crew.
Yes,
Let's go.
I was really surprised to see Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah, I was surprised to see everybody. I mean, not so much Spider-Man, not so much Silver Samurai again, because they've shown the two of them before. But Christ, you saw Reed Richards for a hot second in that.
That was
Yeah.
Morph. I think
Oh,
that
was that Morph?
Yeah, because
that would
I
make more
caught that.
sense.
And I'm like,
Okay.
wait, why was Reed there? And then I was like, no, because Morph kept doing that to me every episode. Like all of a sudden I saw Juggernaut and then I did a rewatch and I was like, because I was like,
You're right.
why was Juggernaut there? Oh, that was Morph. Oh,
That
that's
was the
the
one
Hulk.
thing I
No,
couldn't
it's
explain
Morph.
away is why Reed Richards would be on Asteroid M. He
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
That totally makes sense. Yeah, Morph was screwing with us all. He was there. He was the creator's little way to just mess with everybody and be like, "See, we remember there were lots
Yeah.
of different options."
Yeah. Hmm.
How was it seeing Doom for that brief minute that we had?
Yeah, it was so
Oh.
brief. I would have loved
But it
to
was
see
him
more,
and
but I'll
Zemo.
take it.
I'm
Yeah,
excited
Zemo too.
because that just opens it up. That means we have a whole nother season of who knows what's going to happen. I
Oh,
think they were
yeah.
just kind of showing everyone coming out of the woodwork to prepare for whatever they're planning for season 2. So, and luckily it's the same writer from last season. So we're going to have similar storyline and hopefully similar beats. But, after that, I don't know what's going to happen if there's going to be a season 3. I'm just so excited to see where they're going to take this next season because they did such a bang up job with this one.
Right. I've heard that there is a third season in development.
That's what I've heard also.
So I
Awesome.
bet you they take it all the way to 2000, I hope. That'd be sweet. You're lucky to get 3 to 4 seasons of anything on a streaming platform. You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, yes. It's
Who else do
sad
we-
how
that-
fast everything just cycles through now.
Yeah, exactly. But, we also had Doctor Strange and Iron Man appearances. Of course, Cap, the Silver Samurai they showed so many times, Black Panther and the Wakandans.
Mhm.
You know that with Black
MJ.
Panther, I noticed today that that's not T'Challa, that's T'Chaka, his dad.
Yeah,
So maybe
King
it's 'cause
T'Chaka,
it's-
yeah.
97, after 97 sometime is when
Yeah.
when T'Challa takes over. I thought that was
Yeah,
kind of
that's
interesting
going
how
to
they
be a
did that.
good one. Also, kind of bummed that Stephen Strange is just in there doing surgery while
That's
like
what
the
I was
rest of
gonna
the
say,
world
was
is
that-
all wiping out, and it's like the Sorcerer Supreme's doing surgery. Are you out of your mind?
Was he in garb though? I can't remember. Like if he's doing
Yeah.
surgery, I would
Yeah, because
imagine
he had a surgeon's cap on, and yeah, that's
With
what
a
I.
collar.
Yeah, I
Okay.
wasn't sure if that's what I saw, and I was like, "Is he?" I mean, he's a doctor, so I didn't think he was doing that anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know how Disney is when they have a success. They keep trying to mimic it, imitate it over and over and over. And so, this is probably the biggest success they've had in a while, right? I would expect.
For the MCU, I think that's safe to say. It's been a
Exactly.
while. They've already talked about cutting back on a bunch of things and moving their IPs and shifting stuff around because they don't want it to be oversaturated. So I think bringing the mutants in this way in cartoon form will prove to them that, yeah, that's the direction we want to go. That's the last thing we haven't gotten from our generation.
Right.
So I think that's what we're ready to invest in heavily.
So, with that being the case, seemingly, I mean, don't you think that not only Spider-Man, but now even like cartoons like Iron Man, or any of these characters, not only like redoing the ones that came in the late 80s, early 90s, but then starting all new ones like Captain America or, Hell's Kitchen Crew or any of that stuff. I mean, my God, you could start a whole nother, like a Marvel animated MCU kind of a thing. That would be so
I would love
fucking
that.
sweet.
But I have the fear that they won't. They'll try to do what's happened year and year after again and again, where people go, "Well, put your art style on it." And the problem is for
Yeah.
me, this is the only cartoon style I want to see. Like out of everything else I've been through, like there's certain animes that I'm like, some of it works. I don't know, but this is what I'm tied to. This specific style of animation. If they stick with this, I'll watch everything they put out. But if they try to vary too much and do too many other things, I don't know. I don't know if I would stick around for it.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what they do. And
Well,
I
it's
guess
like with the turtles when they had good animation for the turtles, then they did good CG for the Nickelodeon turtles, and then all of a sudden went to that rise of the whatever that last cartoon series was that didn't
oh
do well.
yeah. But the person who wrote season 1, I think, was fired before it ever even aired. I think they still used his work, but with that being
He had the first two
case,
seasons done.
he had the
Mhm.
first 2.
Yep.
Okay, well
Yeah,
that's
Bo
promising.
DeMayo.
Did
Yeah.
they ever say what happened? Why he was fired? I never heard details.
There's contemplations of ideas that he was because of his OnlyFans account. Apparently, he was very difficult to work with on set, and he was very set on. He's one of those guys. My story is my story, and it must be done this way. So there was some friction and some issues, but apparently, it was amicable. Both sides have just kind of let it happen and just said, "See you later," and walked away. So
Right.
tough to tell.
There's no doubt, what you said will come to pass. They're going to keep, getting arrogant. You want to try? You want to give it a shot? How about you, champ? You want to try a series? And it's just going to. What if they did the old Incredible Hulk cartoon again, man? That would be tight. Oh, I'd love to see that.
I'd like to see a good Incredible Hulk cartoon, definitely.
Good Fantastic Four, have all these different seasons happening and then have them all lead into a big, like, Secret Wars kind of a thing. Oh my
Or get
God.
like Planet Hulk. That would be amazing. That might be a safer way to get Planet Hulk because of all the murderiness that has to happen, but it could be pretty solid.
They actually did a Planet Hulk movie, which was pretty good, animated movie about, when was that, Jack? About 10 years ago?
Was it? I don't think I've seen that one.
It's really good. It was on Netflix for a long time. I don't know where it's at now. I'll have to look it up, but I think it was just called Planet Hulk. And it's just his time on the planet, arriving in the ship, being made to be a gladiator, and then rising to.
Oh, yeah, I remember that because it's actually Beta Ray Bill who shows up
Yes.
instead of Thor. Yeah, that was really good, actually. That was pretty solid. And then on that same at that same time came out what was it? Valhalla, Planet Hulk in Valhalla or whatever, or Hulk going to Ragnarok.
Oh, I don't think
Or
I
like fighting
saw
Thor
that, but I
up
know
there.
what you're
That
talking
was pretty
about.
good. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty solid as well.
It would be cool though if they went full circle and then made it World War Hulk, like him coming back to Earth. Oh my God, that would be incredible.
Yeah, that's what
Everyone
I want.
wants to
desperately
see
more than
that.
anything.
Yeah, everyone
Mhm.
wants that one.
Why don't they give us what we fucking want? What's so hard about that? If you want money, give us what we fucking want.
They know what we want.
They think
That's
they
what it
know what
is.
we want. Well, with
Yeah.
this, they
Or-
were right. We did, the X-Men was the shit. So we did want that. Keep them coming. Keep the X-Men coming.
Yeah,
They want
they
they want
definitely
Madam
nailed it.
Web. We'll give them Madam Web.
Ugh.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dakota Johnson, you nightmare! Why?
So many flops. Answer, Casey, if you can do this for me. I don't know if you've seen them, but we don't need to go into deep reasons as to why. But a yes or no will suffice. Did you like Secret Invasion?
Secret Invasion, the TV show. Yes, I actually enjoyed that story.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I think so. Here's the thing. I'm the guy that you're not going to burn out with and give me too much. Give me all of it. Don't leave me half open stories and don't leave me weird endings that nothing's going to come to fruition on. If you're going to throw it out there, commit to it. So where they're going with Thunderbolts, however long it takes to get there, in retrospect, will make Secret Invasion that much better. So I enjoyed it. And I like scroll stories. Scroll
Yeah,
stories are fun. Anytime
sure.
you can just take over someone and invade secretly throughout the entirety, I think that was a really important story to pull out.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Agree to disagree.
I still didn't like it. Yeah.
I
That's totally
understand. I
fine.
understand. There's appeal there. That ending was just so fucking bad, and the wardrobe was horrible on that show. But I digress. We're here to talk about X-Men. So what about? Let's jump over to Wolverine really quick. We obviously saw Magneto pull the adamantium from his body. We can see in this last episode he's laying on the table. Still alive, barely alive, but there. And here comes another one of these lines that shows you how fucking close this group of people are. And it almost brought a tear to my eye when Logan's laying there unconscious and Scott comes down to him and says, "Don't disappoint her. Don't break her heart." Like talking about his wife. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, I was just like, wow, that's some pretty deep shit, isn't it? No?
And then Morph coming over and changing, and Jean being like, "Wake up for me, I love you."
Yeah.
That was pretty dirty.
It was a little underhanded. It was a little gnarly, kind of messed up to do that. But I love that love triangle. I think we all
Yeah.
love that love triangle because we root for
Yeah.
every one of them at some point, and we understand all of their love. So it's it's weird, but go with it.
But it's just Scott is not stupid in the whole aspect. Of course, he knows he loves her, but he also knows that she loves him on some level,
Mhm.
I just loved it. I loved it. That was amazing.
I think some of it, he's still hung up on Madeline. I think so. He's still, because he had a baby with Madeline, that the whole Jean thing is still kind of, I used to love you, but I have a kid with this one, but then she is you. So
he's trying to push Jean off onto Logan so then he can be with
no,
Madeline.
because Madeline's dead. So Jean's
I
all he's
know,
got left now.
It just sounded funny. Like, who you might like.
Yeah.
So he winds up with like this secondary prize. Like, sorry, you wind up with Jean, even though Madeline was clearly who you were into. So.
Yeah.
But one thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, one thing that I didn't notice or none of us saw at the end of this is when, what was it? Magneto disintegrated the asteroid, or seemingly disintegrated it, and everybody disappears. It just blows up into sparkles, kind of a thing. But we see, obviously Scott and Jean have gone into the future, like about 1,000 years into the future. And the rest of the gang have gone back to BC times. I don't remember the year, but Apocalypse.
3,000.
3,000. Apocalypse when he was young. And fuck, I lost my train of thought. Oh, did we see Wolverine there? Was Wolverine there in
No.
Egypt with them? I don't think he was.
Yeah, I don't remember who was, because
No.
Beast was holding someone, but I think that was the professor.
Correct. So
Okay.
Yeah.
where's Logan? That doesn't mean he wasn't there, but I feel like they would show that to us if he was. And it makes me wonder if he's been shot to some other period of time. I don't know where. Maybe it'd be cool. Like ancient Japan would be tight.
Right?
Or like
Or he's with the
prehistoric
Shi'ar
ages.
or something dumb. We're gonna get the Shi'ar back in this. I know they're coming back. That's the
Oh,
they
they'll
were
be
the
back.
thing I disliked most in the original series, the original animation. I was always annoyed by them, so I'm like, yeah, stop. Please
Yeah.
just stop.
Agreed.
I don't want that anymore.
Agreed.
So I think we're going to get Onslaught in there. While they're in the past, they're going to make friends with Apocalypse, and somehow when they get back to the present, they're going to use Apocalypse friend guy Apocalypse to beat Onslaught, help beat Onslaught.
I like
That's what I
that.
think is going to happen.
That's really good. That's
That's-
powerful.
that's
and
good.
I could see that working if they become friends with Apocalypse and then use him to save Gambit or at least try to bring him back.
Mhm.
So, and then maybe Rogue can touch him. That would be nice.
Ooh, there you go.
Right?
They can finally fuck.
Talk about a fairy tale ending for those two. That would be pretty sweet, just to have them be able to get together and then they leave or something like that, and that's the NDC. That's all you see.
I
them.
would
They
love
get
that.
two new
Have them.
characters show up.
I'm so excited
Yep.
to see him as a horseman. I mean, I think Casey's 100% on point with that. That's got to be what's going to happen, right? I mean, fuck.
I hope. I mean, look, we don't have Iceman, so if we're not going to have Bobby Drake,
I
and his
realized that the
awesome
other day.
alpha size, you know.
Or
Yeah.
Colossus.
He was so dope. He was so dope as that. Well, we briefly have had Colossus. I feel like Colossus would come back
That's true.
because he was just out there.
He's
wanted
still
to stay
alive.
at
You
home.
saw him at the end of the series, the episode. He's still alive. So I didn't see
Yeah.
Iceman on that list anywhere though.
No, but no Bobby Drake anywhere, man. That was
Mm-mm.
really upsetting and weird. So I don't know if he's already one of the Apocalypse's four horsemen, because remember Apocalypse and makes him overpowered and he gets all shard like, and which is really dope, and he becomes
Yeah.
super omega level. But yeah, so we don't have him. We barely saw Psylocke, so who knows if she's get ties back in. No Archangel. So where's he at? So it's
Yeah.
possible to all of them could be brought back through Apocalypse. So I don't know. I got fingers crossed on some old favorites still.
That would be sweet. They brought so many cameo. I'm not going to get on that side tangent, but fuck.
How'd you guys feel about when that Sentinel shows up at the end of the last the finale, and then the chest opens up and it's everyone driving around? That Beast and Forge ended up hacking the Sentinel and drove it on over.
It was
That shit, I
pretty
loved that.
cool. I
That
mean,
was
we saw
awesome.
that in the first episode too, right?
Yeah, it was a little more rudimentary, I think, though. It was mostly just, I don't know, just Beast using pulleys to get the stuff to walk around. But this
Mhm.
time actually showed up and had a whole caravan inside.
Yeah, it was flying like some sort of new delivery service. It was awesome. It was pretty dope. There was a few moments where I just smiled and was like, "What?" So
Yeah.
that was one of them.
Jumping backward really quick, Jack referenced the list in the building where Forge was, with all the mutants' pictures on them saying if they were deceased or not, or presumed missing. That was a complete rip from the cover of the Days of Future Past comic book. Did you guys notice that?
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I
100%.
didn't catch that.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
It was so cool. I just
one
had
of
to
the
throw that
one
in
of the
there.
coolest covers, and it was really great that they threw that in there. I was wondering if they're going to lead that to somewhere, since a great question, you brought it up. We don't see Logan anywhere, so is he somehow hanging out somewhere where he'll be the impetus along with maybe Magneto?
Ooh, I'd like
Deadpool
to-
came and pulled him.
I would very
And
much
that
like
will
to
be the new movie.
subscribe to your newsletter, Casey. You raise a lot of good points.
Just theories, man. Just theories. I got a whole lot of ideas.
Yeah, but they're plausible. I mean, more plausible than anything I've thought of. I don't know.
Means
who
now I
else?
got to write a newsletter.
Yeah, you do. Get on it. I want tomorrow's edition, damn it. Who else do we need to talk about? How about Jubilee?
It's been cool to see her start using her powers more, and actually, I don't know, it seems like she's getting more respect than just being the little kid. She's actually holding her own pretty well. I mean, especially after from being in the video game, I think.
Yeah.
This was
See?
more video game Jubilee. She was actually able to do stuff. And I wasn't completely annoyed by her. And she didn't have that crappy attitude.
No,
Something about in the early 90s, it was like so much of a baby-esque effect. And I'm like, come on, get over yourself. Like
Yeah.
you're a mutant with cool powers. Let's do this thing. And this series, she just was running, hit the ground running. She was doing great. So big fan.
She just
And
kind
she
of
stepped
seemed
it
like
up
a
quite a bit.
side story for me. Like I didn't see her as really pertinent to the what was happening much. And her power just irritates me because it just seems like anytime she's using it on someone, unless it's just like a human, it's just kind of like, stop. What are you doing? Stop, you know, and then they knock her away. Like it's not.
Well, that's how they always pretty much use her as just a distraction type thing. But now she's actually using it more offensively because she took out Bastion almost. I mean, fucked his face up good in the end on this last episode.
Right. I had me a
man.
bite of crow when I saw that. Yeah, you're right. But at the same time,
Just hearing the sound of that attack too, because that's when she met herself in the game. She was using that same thing, and I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh hell yeah, she's picking her new stuff up."
yeah.
Mhm.
It
She
would-
got brutal with it.
I would
Yeah.
have liked to seen more development out of her in this season 1. Like seen her come a little bit further than they came with her. I just didn't give two shits about her or Sunspot side story much, you know.
Sunspot's
Yeah, I think
not really.
yeah.
I didn't care too much. I mean, it sucked that his parents sold him out and didn't care really or wanted him to hide that he was a mutant for
Yeah,
their
but we've
status.
seen it a million times.
But
and that's kind of
exactly,
the-
yeah. Yep.
Yep. And I can see where that's supposed to be the introductory for whoever the next young crowd is coming in, since they don't want to have Jubilee do that to us again. They went with the Sunspot character. I didn't care about him. I was saying with you guys, I just wasn't interested. I was like, whatever, get over yourself.
Yeah.
Same thing. But the Jubilee stuff at least gave it a little more credence, and she had cooler powers, but Sunspot sucked.
What team did he come from? He's from a different X team, right?
I don't even remember. I think he was X-Force. Maybe
X-Force,
X-Factor,
maybe.
one of those.
I don't remember. He was though in one of them. I just don't remember. Anyway, that's all I had to really say about Jubilee. Let me just make sure I don't have. Again,
What about like Bishop and Forge, the Future Boys? How did you guys feel about them in there?
I loved Forge in this. I think he got a much more rounded out character than we typically ever got out of him. You know what I mean?
There's a lot more
Mhm.
depth in him. Yeah.
And then him and Storm being in love, that was a whole new thing I didn't anticipate and really liked. You know, I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
So
That was one of the storylines that they had used in like the 91 or somewhere in Uncanny early 90s X-Men. They ran with those two getting together. And I'm glad that it got a little play here.
yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit. I
Her
love
and
that.
Wolverine just never seemed to fit. Forge seems
Mm-hmm.
to work a little bit better.
Yeah. Agreed. Sunspot also is from the New Mutants.
New Mutants.
That's where he's from. That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay. Another thing that was pretty awesome was the opening credits changed with every episode's events. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like when Storm lost her
Mhm.
power, Storm's missing from the crawl, you know, as after the episode where all the humans turned into the Sentinels, then the next opening we see all these Sentinels. It was incredible. I loved it. It makes you want to keep watching it instead of just hit the skip button.
It was cool to actually see Bishop in the opening credits, and then all of a sudden, once he left, then you didn't see him anymore, and then you're just asking the question, well, where the hell is Bishop at? Until my boy pops up in this last episode, and I'm like, yeah, he's here, finally.
Yeah. You knew they were waiting just for the end for that one.
Bishop
sure.
is still to me one of the all-time OP superpowered characters. Like him and Cable,
Yeah.
it's like they have no top end. They just can't be used frequently because they have so much power.
How about Cable getting his arm ripped off?
And then beat with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
mean,
was something
talk about
else.
taking his manhood and then slapping his face with it. Jeez.
Might as well pulled his
That was
penis off
brutal.
and been beating him with it.
Hey, we don't need to go there.
This is Canned
Now-
Air.
now
That's
I-
where we always go. What
Now
are
we
you
need to
talking
find
about?
out, like, is Cable's dong metal too? Like, or is
And
it
is
just
all the
his arm?
same fibrous, or is it just one?
He'd be a hit, wouldn't he, with the ladies? If it were.
Yep.
Well, maybe anyone who's into tentacles.
I mean, there's a whole hentai section of people out there.
No, he's sad. He's good. Cable's got his people, his folk. I mean, the way his arm spiraled out and like became one with Bastion was weird and crazy and creepy.
Yeah.
So his dong probably does that.
Like a turtle's.
Oh my goodness.
Oh shit! One thing that one of you guys. Well, I guess we're kind of loosely talking about Japanese animation with the tentacles and that stuff.
Very loosely, bro.
Very loosely, but what it made me think of was anime and how there was this animation didn't look like animation, but it also like carried subtle
Yes.
overtones of it, I guess.
Mhm.
Like the example that comes to mind is when Wolverine puts his claws into Magneto. And like you see that like shock over Magneto's face, like, holy shit, did he just really do that? And there's a scene where the camera is panning slowly from the ground, looking up at Magneto, and you're looking through Wolverine's claws that are busting out of his chest. And you can see his like eyes doing this quiver as he's just staring ahead wide-eyed. And it just looked like an anime. It looked like straight out of anime.
There's a lot of stuff like they've taken a lot of how to say references, I guess, from anime, because I mean it's such a huge big deal. So why not throw that in your artwork? But like when Jean was fighting Sinister, how they would do that like little slide around the back, man, that action, it does it for me. And then even when Scott was beaming with his beam and then all of a sudden unleashed it on Bastion, and he was just like, that stuff that gets me on the edge of the seat every time. That I need that kind of thing in animation.
Yeah, I think they did a great job.
Yeah,
exactly. It's that marriage of those two styles. I think that's the best part of this style is the way it works all of the good animation we have into it, and it feels very new and still fresh. So I think it's fantastic. And once again, please, whoever from Disney is listening, don't mess with this animation style. Please make everything in this style.
Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with, for some reason, it just translates the amount of power that they're generating, I think, with anime, the way they do stuff. Just like Magneto, and all he said, that's it, I'm done. And then EMP'd the whole place. That whole thing was just power up and then boom.
Yeah.
So you always get that build up and release that we all love.
It's so funny when he went to the North Pole he flew to right after he broke out of Bastion's place. And he's just wearing like underwear, like and that's it, and floating out there in his magnetic ball. And I kept thinking, even while he's EMPing, like, wonder if that thing's holding in heat, because I'd be really cold.
A significant shrinkage.
You didn't have to go there, Jack.
Well, I had the exact same thought. I was like, that can't be comfortable up there. It looks like he's in a bathing suit in the North Pole. What is that? What is he thinking? He doesn't have heat powers.
No. Again, which makes me wonder if he's somehow within his magnetic ball keeping heat, but I don't see how that's possible.
He was, but once he stopped, when Blow hits with the EMP, he no longer has magnetic balls, so his balls are inside of himself.
Yeah.
So that's the only way he's got that heat going.
Balls go in, nipples go out.
Direct correlation. His nipples were huge if you didn't see.
And now you know how it's done.
It's all connected.
I have obliterated all my notes. What about you guys? Was there anything else you guys wanted to mention about the series or the season 1 so far?
The last thing was that I got is Hank's line at the end of the finale, which I don't know. I just lost it laughing my ass off because I don't know why it hit me so hard. But after everything happened, they find out they're in the past, and Hank's just like, "Oh my," and then that was it.
When he realized that it was Apocalypse they were staring at.
Yeah.
Because what better way? I mean, he knows what they're in for already.
Yep. And when I saw the 3000 BC, I was like, "Oh hell no, they're doing it." And then they showed, whatever going on fighting, and then all of a sudden he pulled down his mask and said his name, and I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
They are.
I had the same thought. I was like, okay, well, if they're going back and there's sand everywhere, there's only one mutant we're gonna see. Only one.
Didn't it say Egypt like right after the time?
Yep.
So I mean, as soon as it says Egypt, you're like, oh shit. Here we go.
Yeah.
Buckle
Evan
in.
also
buckle
all
in.
day.
Apocalypse. That's apocalypse right there.
I knows it first. I knowed it first.
And then going to the future and Bishop holding the baby, that was interesting.
Yeah.
That was cool. I was like, okay, we're gonna get the Cable side of this. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah, every like the episode 1 fight scene with the Sentinels and like the decoy master mold, the rooftop scene with Trask and when he turned into the Sentinel. Of course, when they all attacked the mansion. What am I forgetting? There are other great fights. Of course, the Asteroid M fight with Magneto. But
I think the escape and the fight at not was it Muir Island? That was or wherever. Where do the mutants live? Why am I blanking completely on this?
Genosha.
Genosha.
Yes,
Thank you.
that's
Don't
what
know
I'm
why.
forgetting.
The Battle of Genosha, that entire sequence of just trying to protect, other mutants, trying to save themselves, trying to get away, trying to fight back is just brutal. That caused some hurt, man. That was a tough episode to rewatch. That was a big one.
Oh, yeah. And you had to rewatch it like right away because it was like, holy shit. When that moment started, it wasn't like, oh my God, look at what's happened. And then like a wind down in your emotion as you watched it. You stayed like on the edge of your seat the whole time. It never stopped like having full command of your attention. It was incredible.
Yeah.
I don't think the rest of
absolutely.
the season went like that. It got close, but it was never as impactful as that episode was. I don't think.
When Magneto got thrown into the statue of Xavier and it falls back onto all the mutants and kills them, and you just see like him gritting his teeth and tears like being forced out of his eyes, and what do you say, like you'll pay for their deaths or something, and throws that whole subway train at him. Oh my God.
Yep. Brutal.
Yeah, it got me excited. I'll just say that.
And it was beautifully done the whole way. I mean, I have to, and kind of wrapping up, I am grateful to see that we got Allison Seeley Smith to return for the voice of Storm from the original series.
Mm-hmm.
We got George Buzo as Beast. We got Cal Dodd back as Wolverine. We got Lenora Zahn as Rogue. So it was great that they were able to call back from these voices from my childhood, and you're able to recognize them, and just takes you right back to that spot.
Right.
This show is easily one of the best things the MCU's put out animation wise. I've always claimed DC is the far superior studio in animation. Yep. And if they keep and continue doing this, they will take over again. So this is the best way to see the X-Men. Happy they're back, and I could not have loved this series more.
It's the truth. My complaints are so small, they're not even called complaints. They're called like an itch. Easily taken care of. Easily taken care of. I can't wait. That's the only thing that sucks about this is how long, from the time we heard about 97 to the time we got it. How long is it going to be?
It was a couple of years, I think, when we heard
we're gonna
about
wait
it.
2 years for a season 2, man. That just
It's only cartoons. Come on, you guys can draw.
it's not. It's sustenance. I need it. I need that need. That need to rush home and watch it. Like the last 10 Wednesdays have been like, like I sit down, light a candle and shit, shut the curtains. I get in the mood for it, and I just sit there on the edge of the chair the whole time. I don't really like candles. I was just bullshitting about that, but you know what I mean.
No, it's okay. We accept you.
Yeah.
I've been cracking into my box of chocolates every time, so
I know what you're getting for Christmas. A new candle.
This is for your
the
X-Men
fancy beeswax ones for X-Men nights. Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I guess this is where we leave it to you people watching. Let us know in the comments what you thought. If you agree, disagree with stuff we said, maybe things we missed. We want to hear your guys' comments. And check out the episode I put up right before this one. I put out the video of our conversation with Cal Dodd. We did about a year, 2-3 months ago, something like that. So when we talked to him, he had already done all the work for X-Men 97. X-Men 97 just hadn't aired yet. And it's a great conversation. And I was excited to finally put the video together for YouTube, because the audio versions have been out for just as long, since we recorded it. But just now, finally getting off my ass, the video is out. So check that out as well. And gentlemen, did we have anything else to say?
Oh my.
Fuck, you guys are making this hard on me tonight.
Man, just kind of feel like I might have blown my load with everything we had coming over us tonight. It was just a whole lot going on, and I think if you haven't watched it, please watch it. And if you plan on watching it again, to bring tissues and popcorn.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good idea. I think I'll do that for the second watch. I may not need the tissues. I already got my tears, but some popcorn. I'll bring that.
Not
Can't
just
go
for
wrong
tears.
with the popcorn.
Not just for tears. That's right. For the Battle of Genosha part.
And his
gotcha.
candles.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this review. Again, let us know what you thought. And until next time, I'm Jeremy Colley.
I'm Jack Doherty.
I'm Casey Plott.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and be excellent to each other.